into the 6th and final map of the World Series of Warzone Global Finals. London, one more time, let's get real loud for the final drop of the trio section of this event.
Here we go, we get a good look at that initial zone encompassing a large majority of the water. And Jukies, your map 5 winners that took so long, as Frankie said. She hits them with the, what took you so long? Jukies like, yo, we've been warming up in a 54-point game at that. If they could double down and throw another one like that, putting them north of 100 points, think of the differential on the leaderboard, because for your right, from 46 to 9, that's nothing short of impressive.
Yeah, you need a massive one, certainly. Currently situated, and I believe 4th place overall is TBE, who's just breached that 100-point margin. So there is a sizable drop-off after the 5th place, but everyone from then on out are all fighting for still a ton of cash. Again, $100,000 to the team in 1st, but still $80K for 2nd, $65K for 3rd, and so on and so forth. But if you want to make money today, you've got to make it inside the top 25. I'm looking at Aiden and Rated and Hate Adrian. They're currently in 11th place overall, just outside of the top 10, and that money drastically starts increasing after the top 10.
Well, it's going to be Aizen, but they're not going up against DBZ this time. It's actually going to be Team Swag that will be contesting them over here at Airport. And Aizen and Heeds, they were trying to bait colors into their building. They threw that proximity mine down on the ground, but it looks like Aizen and Heeds will be getting the stronghold for themselves. And Swag and Co, they're kind of rotating out, but Heeds looking to catch Z colors off guard.
Now with Juki's kind of increasing his point total, we do now officially have 4 EU teams inside the top 10. Heeds and Gromalok, they've been playing a hyper-aggressive play style, but they're not one of those teams. They'd love to creep inside the top 10, love to continue to prove themselves. They've been contesting any team they can get their hands on. They're just not winning every single time. You need those early eliminations if you want to find yourself in the final couple circles. I gotta give a shout out to Pat Zuka, Inxian, off-screen wiping DBZ. The crowd saw it and the crowd got loud. We'll check in with him in a little bit.
Tappa on the upper floor of the building ahead of Champy. Can Big Pavo close the distance? Definitely got to check behind, because he knows that there's a member that was able to snake off into the water. Sometimes if you're running amok, you have to get into water to rotate, but Tappa not able to get there just yet. The jump comes around and Big Pavo able to take down Tappa, the last member of this team unable to rotate.
Yeah, these are those early fights you look back on and say, okay, we have 4, 5, 6 eliminations. We're kind of setting up for that next circle, setting up for the next zone. These are clutch, but they're not everything. You need more, especially if you're a team like this that's near the bottom of the leaderboard. You've got to go massive, and every single kill could net you quite literally hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Everything counts. Every single elimination counts. Joe, Breadman, Limax, a strong start and a mediocre finish. We'll see if they can finish well in the final map, as Smixy getting the better of Levi on the other side. Smixy going big to potentially take down the Australian team as Zeppa and Teeny close the gap.
And this is what they need to do. We were talking to Smixy earlier on. Frankie pulled her aside. Hey, what's going on? It's just like, we just need to win that first initial engagement. If they're already picking off a couple members, getting that KP, that's exactly what is benefiting them. But Zeppa and Teeny waiting to see, hey, will Levi come back? Did he guess the Gulag win? No, so they will likely have to get enough cash to be able to buy them back. But then you jump on over to Observatory, the one team that has the best chance of catching Team Biffle. It's gonna be on your screen. Team Soka, Skullface Mayapo, and Hisoka, the captain himself.
Yeah, the big question in my mind is this trio, do they go into this game and say, let's go absolutely crazy to try to take 1st place? They won't settle for 2nd, of course, but do you kind of rest on your laurels a little bit and say, we want to stay alive, we want to maintain our position, because they do have a sizable gap from 2nd to 3rd. It's a 13-point margin, so if they just have a pretty solid game, they're likely going to lock up $80,000 to their name. Knowing this trio, though, they're not even looking at the leaderboard. They're just going to play their game. They're going to do what they do best. As off-screen, you're seeing Lennon, Juki's finding a couple eliminations. They're keeping up that pace they set in map 5.
Skull being patient, playing some head peeks here, but you've got the 2022 EU World Series of Warzone champions on the high ground going up against NA. So that's a heavy-hitting fight. We'll check back in with that later as we keep on board with your current leaders here on LAN in the global finals. It's Team Biffle.
Again, no one really contesting their point total. Same thing that I just said for Team Hisoka is the exact same mentality for this team. All they're worried about is getting some points on the board. They're not worried about the leaderboard, though. They're going to play their game. I can only expect you're going to see them in the final circle. You're also going to see them with a ton of eliminations, but only time will tell. Head back to Observatory to take a look at a potential fight here. Again, Savvy Ultras is here every single time, but a team that has to play aggressive because they're outside the top 10. Aiden, Rated, Adrian pushing up from behind. Savvy Ultras forcing the encounter.
Yeah, but here's the deal. Team Juki's just got wiped. All of them sent to the Gulag. So if we wanted them to go back to back, the odds are already stacked against them. But in the tunnels is Sage, and Sage goes down. Shifty not able to get by his teammate to grab a trade. Team Echo on your screen. Echo, Tomsterbaum, and Bubble. I mean, Echo and Tomsterbaum, they've been playing since the beginning of Verdansk, the competitive Warzone history. I was able to stop by, talk to them. They said, hey, we're running 2 Signal 50s. Echo's going to be running that AR SMG. But honestly, your weapon doesn't matter here because it's the last game of the day and your job is to climb up that leaderboard tooth and nail. I fully expect this last map to be the most aggressive we've witnessed.
And that story of Echo is a story that many of these teams share. I'll pause that story to say, well, it's Sage in the Gulag, and again, you want to maintain that position. Sage looking for his opposition, throws a grenade here from Brilo. Doesn't connect, which gives a little bit of information to Brilo to know that Sage is on the left-hand side. Sage says, nope, you're not gonna know that. I'm gonna go to the right, procs, and guess what? Brilo thought he was on the left. A great move by Sage to outsmart his opponent. He's not gonna lose that one.
Not gonna lose the Gulag, maybe not gonna lose LAN here. Could you imagine? I know we have Pulse Check in the building upstairs sitting with J-God and Lucky and Rampage, and they're just cheering on Biffle, their brother at arms. But Skullface here finds himself in the Gulag, but a heavy hitting one against Jowo.
This is a big one. Hisoka's team in second, Skullface a huge part of that, but Jowo on the other side needs a massive momentum swing to continue to increase their prize pool. Likely gonna walk away with some cash. The question is how much? Couple shots against Skullface, only break one plate. Skullface misses, oh, the timing! Jowo wins out that one. Jowo's gonna be heading back free and clear, but if I know anything about Mayapo and Skullface and Hisoka is that they're quickly gonna get Skullface back, and then that's exactly what just happened.
Hit the flare, hit the rotate, doing an intel contract to get that next circle information, but Jowo just absolutely finessed in the Gulag, and you know, some, lo and behold, do call him Flowo, maybe the king of movement here in Warzone.
Flowo, movement king, whatever you want to call him. Joe's the GOAT. Question is he gonna be the GOAT on LAN? Probably not first place, but hey, we still have the solo YOLO after this. Anybody's game for $100,000. We'll get to that in a moment though, because still a lot of cash to be had here. $500,000 up for grabs. This is the last map for it, and DBZ needs to go big. An okay map in the last one after their win. They're gonna clean up Meeks here and keep moving on their merry way. Decent position, decent advantage, but where do you go from here, Tiff?
You go up. You want the high ground. Rotate through Observatory, see where that next circle is going to start pulling, and then prioritize your rotation, because that's what has been killing so many of our teams. And with so much water still in this main zone, a lot of teams have prioritized going to Said City, and that's not a bad move. That's not a bad shout, but the thing is, can we get there? Squads like FIFA Kill have already rotated in.
Yeah, and I was taking a look at this map again. You can take a look at it yourself on the Call of Duty Echo Twitch channel. You can see where the map is as Allman finds one. Great timing for Allman to pick one up, creeping along the ground. Now they have player advantage. Now they hunt their prey. Noob's gonna creep up above. These players know every single angle to get in and out of these buildings, and Noobs flanks his opponent, pushes as a team. They're not taking any chances here, Tiff. 3v1 should be no problem at all.
Finding themselves inside the top 5, but they will not be happy with that. Tommy had a strong performance the last time he was in the Copper Box Arena, and performing here today would be exactly what they need, but they're just 4.4 points outside of the top 3. But Dusamir is the squad currently sitting in 3rd. They've got the high ground, and they are just above Team Huskers.
Yeah, I've got to give some flowers to that Mexico team. They're playing fantastic. Getting shot in the back though. David Samir now in trouble. A little bit of a caster curse, but Castillo's gonna make it right. Gonna try to play the high ground position, and I like this spot. Huskers, Mutex, Jesus, they've got to know they have the high ground. Jesus, an incredible player. traveled all over the world to compete in Warzone, not only today, but in the past. Won a LAN for 10K in Amsterdam. Has an opportunity to hopefully increase his standings on the leaderboard and win some cash. But let's head to the Gulag here. Deus Amir, 3rd place currently, trying to take down 11th place Hate Adrian. This is a nice 1v1 for a massive moment.
Hitting overtime. No one on the flag. PDSW in hand is not a bad gun for the Gulag, but check the angle that Deuce is working on. He's gonna push the issue, and Adrian clutches that. Exactly what they needed to do for Team 8, and I told you, I sat down, I talked with them early on. He's like, I don't know, I'm just here to shoot my gun, and hey, it's working.
The game of chicken in the Gulag is always a fun one. Who's gonna go with the flag first? Usually that person loses. Sometimes they both lose, Tiff. Gotta get on the flag pretty quick, make sure the time doesn't run out. Check in with our 2nd place team. They seemingly are in a bit of trouble, have lost 1. Dongi and Vonbot up above. Don't seemingly are gonna, they're not gonna approach Mayapo here. Instead, they're gonna continue to maintain high ground position in that POI. That's where they land usually. Wonder how many kills they have. Let's head over to the leaders though. Sage, Biffle, Shifty doing, well, Team Biffle things. Continuing to find eliminations and continuing to win those gunfights.
Just hanging out on the outskirts of Hydroelectric was essentially their drop spot. They land in Hydro, they stay in Hydro, they reap in Hydro. And this is actually what is allowing them to farm so many eliminations. And because the zone keeps Hydro in zone, more teams are going to be rotating out of the northern side from Rohan Oil, and they're essentially just gatekeeping everything, and the next team is going to be too strong making their way through that, but not before CPA tries to hit a rotation with the Hummer. They do lose out on CPA, and we're flying off the mountainside of Observatory. Moriko just keeps going, hanging outside of the passenger seat, maybe trying to scout some of them.
Our Asia regional team, they played hyper aggressive in the regional qualifiers and dominated the competition. Probably by driving Hummers and pushing every single gunfight and landing Observatory. The problem is when you do this, you are giving away your position to everyone. They're just trying to find some sort of space that they can hang on to and restabilize. I don't think anyone in this lobby is going to allow them to do that. I'm looking at our map though. Of course, Hydro's still inside the next zone. It's looking like it might pull towards Cave, which is good for Vonbot, Dongi, and Nofo, a team that's kind of an unknown squad that really made a name for themselves in the World Series of Warzone series. Got an opportunity to do something big here. The only team contesting them is Team 38.
Yeah, so go back on your screen. Your 2nd place team still need about 50 points to cover the gap between Team Biffle. And it's just gonna be so tough because they've constantly been in that regain blender, not able to be up to full form, but it's Almond already on 7, has overtaken Deucemir and pushed themselves into the top 3.
If I know anything about TBE, they're not complacent when they're inside the top 5. They're gonna continue to push the equation. That's exactly what you're seeing. I think that's a total of 15 eliminations already from TBE with 37 teams up. They've got an opportunity to do something crazy right now. Can they catch Team Biffle? Likely and mathematically, probably not. But can they creep up into 3rd? Can they creep up into 2nd? It's possible. They need Hisoka to go down, and they need to continue to farm kills, and they're doing exactly that. Swag doing everything in his power. It's just not enough. Noobs grabs another.
Yo, but they hit the do-si-do and hit the flare in the meantime. Will it have connected? Regardless, another elimination goes the way of TBE and Tommy. Now we know they always make that Bermuda Triangle style of play with Almond down in the Gulag. Tommy on the rooftop looking down at Laga, and Diego able to throw down some shots, not necessarily connecting. Maybe a little bit of a lethal, maybe that will connect. But regardless, you want to wait on Almond and see if he's able to get out of the Gulag, but not before Noobs falls.
Yeah, Tim, I usually make a basketball reference here about their triangle formation. I was going to try to lean into football, but I'm not going to disappoint the London crowd. I'm going to let it stand. Tommy looking for a couple of eliminations still. Lage holding his own, but should go down here shortly. The question is, Tim, if you're TBE, obviously you've got a couple in the Gulag here, a ton of eliminations. You want to play this hyper-aggressive playstyle. You got Smixy on the other side. Almost going to try to win this. Where do you go from here? The rotation's going to be tough for Tommy, and you're going to have 2 flyers in the air. They're going to have to scope it out. We'll see if he can win it.
On the ground prone, able to clean up Smixy. You can see that he extended out onto Smixy's side of the gulag, which is very similar of how we witnessed Soka playing early on, but still able to take that elimination, add it to the tally because they are just trying to pull away from that fourth place squad, Team Deuce, Amir, and Soka. Not able to catch a break here in map number 6, but if they go down here, it will open the door for teams to pass them.
The opportunity for TBE to make it to second place completely depends on Hisoka and Mayapo staying alive in this moment. Going down with 0 eliminations is so uncharacteristic of Hisoka. I can't even believe that it could happen. We'll see. Shifty playing maybe playing with his food a little bit. I think they knocked Bino and then let himself revive and then killed him outright. Wanted to make sure they weren't going to get picked off by a third party. We take a look at our zone here. Of course, everybody's moved outside of the majority of the hydroelectric, creeping down towards caves. And Tiff, we might be seeing another water zone.
You would love that, wouldn't you, Coach? You would love a water zone. You're so devious, but regardless, it doesn't matter at this point, with Biffle still able to extend that lead that they're maintaining. And honestly, with the zone pulling just south of hydroelectric, they've got a position where they're able to gatekeep yet again, and that has just kept them maintaining this pace that no one can manifest. Even Soka running the gauntlet of potentially not able to even hold on to second place.
Off-screen, TBE is in a bit of trouble, but they've taken down Finesse, and a couple teams at the top fighting each other, and the gulag is closed. Tiff, we are officially nearing the end game of the last map. Tommy and Almond hunting down Empathy.
Here we go.
Almond on 10, TBE is going huge. Doesn't matter what weapons in his hand. DBZ is in their way. Almond shooting bodies.
Do you blame them, though? They get a durable gas mask, they get their squad together, and they take out 2 members that were likely close to them on the leaderboard. Now we start to parachute away. Look for the high ground as we see squad 26 in the distance. Tactical Brit was who actually was firing down with a signal 50 from above, but look at, we've got the ultimate flank.
I think TBE's on 21 eliminations.
Could you imagine?
An opportunity to do something that many people would say is impossible. I don't know if they're gonna catch this squad, but this could be a window of opportunity. Sage is down, quick flare. Team Biffle knows what they're doing. All 3 alive, as always. Several teams, though, surrounding them. A tough spot in the zone. Sure, it's central, but not ideal. A little bit of cover to work with, and somehow Team Hisoka fully stabilized all 3 up.
They did have the cash. They just needed a buy station or a flare to get their numbers back up. But I'm keeping my eyes on Biffle and Shifty on the right-hand side of your screen, playing just by the bridge. TBE just to the northern ahead of them in a big engagement as Tommy goes down. Tommy is fooled by 8th. Now, Noobs and Almond will have to clutch up this moment and get out of this congested area.
If anybody's wondering here in the stadium where Team Jukies is, they've been eliminated already. They're not here in the final couple circles. They might see themselves into the top 10, but it's going to be close. The big question in my mind is who's going to win map 6 and cement themselves in history, some of the greatest Warzone players of all time.
Oh.
Great snipes.
Signal 50, maybe that will be the greatest ever in World Series of Warzone history. Not a particular player, but a particular weapon in the hands of Shifty.
They're keeping up the pace though, Tiff. They're not relenting. They've got to kind of move into this next circle. Look at the next zone. Half of it's in the river.
Jowo's already there. Tommy's back up, Almond's on the roof. PA liking to wreak havoc, but not necessarily. It does knock Almond on the roof. Tommy does not have a flare. 5 eliminations, typically anchoring for this squad.
If they want a chance to take down Team Hisoka, they have to stay alive. They need the 1.6 and the 1.8
They're
times
tied.
multiplier. Look at that scoreboard on the right-hand side. Team Biffle likely your winners, but second place is a complete toss-up. 2 teams at 129.4, 2 teams vying for second, but Deus Amir Our Mexico squad is not too far behind. Sage goes big, no! Falls, and a quick answer back from Shifty. This team is moving on all cylinders. The team at the top is going to remain there at 182 points. Tiff, could they breach 200 points on land?
There is a possibility as we get into that multiplier, but not before Soka able to find another one, but he's only on 2 eliminations with 13 squads remaining. We are getting into those upper multipliers, but is going to be difficult.
Tiff, this is unbelievable. 11 teams left. Many of our top squads still alive. Third place walks away with $65,000, but first place is $100,000. And second, at 80K, we're likely witnessing not only history, but a fight for $15,000 for second and third place. Skullface in the water with the attack. Siege goes down. EU Ghost goes massive. An opening for TBE and others to creep in. Where are they? Where can they be found? Shifty still up, 7 eliminations, picking up Louis. No! Another knock from distance!
King AJ
is out of here!
Goodbye, and a flare to boot. We're getting Sage back in if we can just get a moment, and there it goes. 4 squads remaining, and look who's got the high ground. It's not Anakin, it's Biffle.
Tiff, so much math behind the scenes, so much money exchanging hands. 3 teams fighting for the final victory. No, make it 4. 1 still in the water. Flanks fighting Sage. Sage goes down. F-Tac Siege reigns supreme when it comes to water, but we're moving back to land on the next zone. 3 teams left. Joe wipes the next one. Joe needs this to walk away with a ton of cash, but it's going to be difficult when you've got Shifty on high ground.
Yeah, but they're sitting on double-digit eliminations, vying for that 2x multiplier. And Team Smixy in the distance, flanked and attract. Some have called them the golden thirds, but here they're showing why they are so prevalent.
Whoa.
Wiping Joe. Now, Team Smixy versus Team Biffle, endgame map 6.
A ton of cash on the line. A ton of eliminations in pocket. Shifty grabs another knock. Looking to close this thing out in style, Tiff. 200 points potentially and looming. A 2v2 with high ground positioning, but not a lot of gas mask to boot. They do make it into position to hold ultimate high. This is unbelievable.
I just want to see him style on him. I know one's got the signal 50, but Shifty is down. Biffle, last standing here, keeping an eye out on flanked, not able to necessarily spot them, but as that circle starts to shift, Shifty back up on his feet. Biffle still the south press, and there he goes, the push on to flanked. Smixy squad is wiped, and Biffle stand up, your winners of map number 6 and a $100,000 World Series of Warzone Global Final Champions.
Team Biffle, go get your trophy. You earned it, and you earned it in style. A massive victory and a ton of points with a ton of cash.
That trophy's been staring at everyone all day, centered in the middle of all of our 150 players. But now it is going to be Biffle and co lifting it.
Tiff, this was unbelievable. An absolute domination from Team Biffle. There were so many people that watched them in the World Series.
There he is.
Stage 1, Stage 2, and they said they couldn't do it. They didn't have the Kim. They were all slayers. No one was willing to do the dirty work. Shifty has had this mark on his name, a chip on his shoulder, and he has proved it on land that he can do it here, he can do it anywhere. Team Biffle are your champions.
Here in the Copper Box Arena, history is made. Shifty, the newest member of the roster, alongside Biffle and Sage there. That trophy is hoisted. Congratulations, boys. You just won $100,000.
You hear the crowd. They've been cheering on our EU all day, but they can see and recognize domination here on main stage. The smiles on their faces, the smiles in the crowd, and you know there's smiles in that pulse check.
from that second game onwards when you got your first victory, but to cap it all off with another is something else entirely. Biffle, given that you guys came second, in fact, you with other teammates came second in the World Series of Warzone NA last year, what does it mean to prove yourself against international competition on LAN?
I mean, it's a great feeling. I know I've gotten third, second twice in the World Series, and now I finally got the first place, so I'm super fucking hyped.
London is hyped! You guys are hyped too! What does it mean to have this man as your team captain?
Man, this guy, you know, they took a chance on me. I wasn't an IGL. They told me that's what they needed, and I said, hey, if y'all trust me, I'll switch to it, and I'll do my best. They said, all right, and it's history.
And what does it take to be a natural IGL? Because you clearly are.
Confidence. I got so much confidence in these guys and in myself, and I just told them, man, like the gear's clicking. Once it starts clicking, no other team can keep up with us. And I mean, we showed that today. I told them, bro, we're ending this with that kill. We're not letting them down the zone. We're gonna land on everybody.
And Sage, for you came outside of the top 10 last year in the World Series of Warzone. Why do you think that this team was just unstoppable?
I feel like this team just comes with a lot of confidence and trust. I mean, you have, by everybody in the world, the best gunny in the game, the best player in the game. 2 months into practice with Shifty, the best IGO in the game to steer us. I have my teammates back no matter what. I do whatever I need to do for my teammates to succeed. Right there, I know we had it through. I told my teammates, just keep getting me back. I'm gonna see if I can get any intel for anybody else. I trust in my teammates. That's all it takes. Like these boys, we only had a couple months together, but this is probably by far one of the best teams I've ever played with.
Shifty, say that into the microphone.
I said it's trust. That's all it was, man. Switching from different rosters, from stage 1 to stage 2, with very little tournaments and very little practice, all it came down to is our trust.
And you found that trust when you needed it most. However, trust can be broken. And I wonder what you guys are going to be doing with each other in that booth, because we are heading into solo YOLO. Who do you think is going to be taking it?
I got Shifty taking it, honestly. I've been at my thoughts since yesterday. I think Shifty's a good person to take it. I hope he does, and that's it.
To be honest, out of the three of you, my money is on you. I saw you today. You are insane.
Oh, I'll kill him. I'll kill him.
Oh, cool, and I'll have a share of the prize money. All right, $100,000 is on the line after this break. But before then, gentlemen, you're each going to get one of these. London, give it up for your 2023 World Series of Warzone Global Final Champions!
The World Series of Warzone Global Final is here, and so is the Solo YOLO pack. Drop into the game with the essentials, including the Red Mist XMR blueprint, the Solo YOLO Chimera blueprint,